What did the Bush administration know, and when did it know it? Still has not been answered. So we can go back, and as you correctly point out, we have new evidence now. We have people who have taken it upon themselves. This is what I call really the art of citizenship, because we have people who were operating within whatever their particular sphere of life was. They were doing whatever it was that they did in order to make our country strong, to keep our values true. And then when they saw crimes against our Constitution, crimes against the very people who elected that government without any kind of accountability whatsoever, crimes committed with impunity, they decided to leave from their point of comfort and get to the truth. And that's why we have a 911 Truth organization, a 911 Truth community that exists in all of the 50 states. The 911 Truth community exists all over the world.
You know, that we were told after 9/11 that we had to give up our civil liberties and we had to go to war. And 10 years later, we're still at war and we still don't have our civil liberties back. 9/11 has changed everything. So if 9/11 changed everything, then full disclosure on 9/11 is the only way to change it back. And today we have two speakers who are legendary congressional U.S. Congress people who have absolutely fearlessly questioned 9/11 since the beginning. And their work in the Congress and in the U.S. Senate over the years has led the way for American people to find a way towards truth and towards justice. I am absolutely delighted to introduce to you right now 6-term U.S. Congressman from Georgia, the Honorable Cynthia Mckinney.
Well, thank you, Massachusetts. And thank you to all of the patriots here who believe in truth and dignity and peace and human rights for everyone. There was a time when we had a president who tried to put us on the path of peace. And in fact, he asked, what kind of peace do we want? What kind of peace am I talking about? Not a Pax Americana enforced on the world by U.S. weapons of war, but the kind of peace that makes life worth living. A peace for all men and women, a peace for all time. That is really what brings us here to the state of Massachusetts this morning, because some of us are sick and tired of war, and we want peace. But in order for us to arrive at that place where our country can be what it truly ought to be, where our government can truly become reflective of the values of the people of this country, as it is not now, we have to have a foundation of truth. What is it that causes our country to be at war now, according to our former Vice President Dick Cheney, for the next generation? Our previous Vice President told us that there were 60 countries against which the United States, the people of the United States, must be prepared to wage war. Our previous administration told us that the culprits against whom we had to fight were an organization called Al-Qaeda. Our current president has now in the country of Libya allied our government and our war machine with Al-Qaeda. What is the world coming to? What has our country come to? We expect more of our country, and we want our country to become a partner in the global community. We want peace. In order to have peace, we must have truth. Truth about what we all saw on September 11th. I was there in Washington, D.C. We all witnessed on television a tragic event. I just spent the weekend in the home of a family who is suffering the health effects from the dust that was spread all over Manhattan. Unsung, unnamed heroes of a tremendous tragedy. The sad fact of the matter, though, is that from President Bush to Prime Minister Howard to Prime Minister Blair to President Obama, the global war of which our country has become involved has its antecedents in what happened on September 11th. And therefore, if we truly are a community of peace, and if we truly are sick and tired of war, then we have a responsibility to provide to the global community and to the people of this country the truth about what happened on September 11th. That is why I am proud of the people who have come together in organizations like We Are Change to demand answers of people who were in responsible positions at the time that decided to take our country to war on a foundation that was less than truthful. Therefore, we have come here to Massachusetts to give the people of Massachusetts the opportunity to provide something to the entire global community that we do not have yet. And that is an independent, transparent investigation of what happened on September 11th. People in the United States Congress have had the opportunity to provide us this investigation, but it did not happen. And therefore, I am pleased to be here at the invitation of the Truth community in Massachusetts and a former senator from Alaska who made this all possible, because he, more than anyone else of our generation, understands the importance of the people of this country knowing what our government is doing in our name. And that is Senator Mike Gravel. So I am pleased to stand here in partnership with all of you and with Senator Gravel, because at the end of our journey will be truth. We don't know where the chips will fall, but we are ready to accept and let the chips fall where they may in such a transparent and an independent investigation.